Now this section we're going to discuss implementing failover clustering, and we're going to discuss planning a failover cluster, creating and configuring new failover cluster, maintaining failover cluster. Let's have a look what is a cluster. Cluster is let's say this is one of your storage servers. This is storage server. Storage servers, we have couple of disks. We have a one disk, two disk. This is disk 11 and disk 12. The reason why I put 11 and 12 because my virtual machines is 11 and 12, that's why. Okay. Now this is the storage servers and it got a couple of disks, and we have a node in here. They are also virtual machines. This is for example my VM11, and now we have VM12, right? VM11 and 12. Now these two VM, they are connected with my storage servers. This is also server, so I got three servers, and maybe I have another server that is my domain controller. This is DC. Let's provide authentication. This is my directory services. Now they are all connected together. Cool. Now this disk 11, we configured the file servers. After that, these file servers, we going to make it available from VM 11 and 12. So that means now this disk 11, we can connect with the two VM. How we can connect? Remember last week we discussed iSCSI target servers. If we use the iSCSI technology, with that we can make this disk 11 and 12 available in VM 11 and VM 12. In this way, let's say disk 11 is in here and you have a file servers is running over there. So anything happened with your VM 11, this disk 11, automatically it will move from these locations through these locations. If something happened VM 11, it will automatically move over there, but disk 11 will be always available. That is the high availability. So we can create a cluster, and inside the cluster we can add many VM. For example, 2, 3 VM, 4 VM, 5 VM. We can add all the VM in the cluster, and we can make it available in the cluster environment. In this way, disk 11 will be always available. Even if it is one server down, it will be available 12. If 12 is down, it may available via 13, like that. So disk will be always available no matter whatever whatever happened with the servers. Let's say this VM need update, so it need to restart. If something happened with the VM, so disk 11 will be still available from the other VM. This is failover clusters. Many companies they using these services. So we're going to talk about failover cluster. This is a high availability mechanism. Availability. This is the high availability tools or mechanism. I just put tools because let's say something is running, no one wants any downtime, right? Our connections got disconnected, we straightway say, oh, our connection got disconnected, so no one wants any downtime. So if you got something, important, stuffs running in these servers or in this disk, we don't want any downtime. Even in the cloud environment, you're accessing some applications, or you're accessing some file, or you have some storage, you have some video things is running. We want always that should be up. So failover cluster, with that, we can provide high availability. So what we can do, we can provide high availability for the file servers, DHCP servers, disk, virtual machines. What else? There are certain services we can provide high availability. Okay, so this chapters we're going to talk about what is the failover cluster, how we can configure the failover cluster, and how we can provide the high availability, and we're going to configure the failover cluster as well.
I have a question, Zahid,
Yes,
because they talk about active passive setup and active active setup. So high availability is active active or what's the setup for that?
it will be active standby is related with load balancing. Okay, load balancing is another thing. This is a high availability, it doesn't do load balance, so it will be always active mode. That servers always they will be running, and they will just wait for other server fail. If other server fail, straightway this servers will work.
So no downtime. Okay. So it's like active active.
Always active, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, so this is very important, because if you're running something in the cloud, and if it is even your email or anything, if it is down for a particular period of time, which we don't want, right? So high availability is very important. And from Windows servers, we can configure the failover cluster, and with that, we can provide high availability. Let's have a look. So you need to have a very good planning. What are we going to do? How we're going to provide high availability? So features of failover clustering include high availability, stateful applications, IP-based protocols. Stateful application means um, some static kind of services we can provide high availability. So that means an IP-based network. These two we're going to discuss. IP network means entire configurations need to be IP network, like pinging, make sure like they're communicating DNS and all these things need to be work properly. IP network. And stateful application means something is running over disk 11, we can provide high availability for only disk 11, not like congestions. For example, disk 11 is running, but is database is related with disk 12, not like conjunctions. Stateful means something is running in one section, so one disk or one container, and you're going to provide high availability only for that product. Because if something happened and it goes some other associations, it cannot provide high availability. So that's why it's applicable for the stateful applications. So consider the following guidelines when planning node capacity in a failover cluster. What is a node? Node, servers, VM, virtual machines, they're all same thing. Okay, people using many different time, many different things, but node and server is the same thing. Distribute the highly available applications from a failed node. Ensure that each node has sufficient capacity. That means you should have a proper CPU power, disk space, memory. Those things need to have enough, otherwise they will not work properly. Use hardware with similar capacity for all nodes in a cluster. Same types of processor, same types of hardware architectures is required. So that's important. Failover cluster storage. Failover clusters require shared storage to provide consistent data to a virtual server after failover. Shared storage options include SAS, iSCSI, Fiber Channel, shared.vsdx, scale-out file servers. You can also implement clustered storage space to achieve high availability at the storage level. But in our case, we're going to use iSCSI because that's very handy. We don't have other things, but iSCSI we can connect because you need a storage connectivity with the servers, and that's why iSCSI is important. With iSCSI, we can, um, connect to remote disk. That's what we have looked at last week, and today we're going to use that one as well. Remember iSCSI target servers and iSCSI initiators. Now, the hardware requirements for a failover implementations include you must use server hardware that is certified from Microsoft servers or Windows servers. All the hardware, like hardware component, need to be um, certified from the Windows servers, like a NIC card. You shouldn't put a NIC card which is Microsoft don't know, then these things will not work. Server nodes should all have the same configurations and contain the same or similar components. All servers must pass the test in the validate configuration wizard, right? Network requirements for a failover implementation. So you should have a proper, network adapters. Make sure you have a redundant network. If anything happened with one NIC card, another NIC card should be working. You should ensure that network adapters are identical and that they have the same IP protocol versions, speed, duplex, and flow control capabilities, which majority of the device they have this capability. We need to have a domain controller. Domain controller need to be there, and it should have a Windows servers, and then it will work. And all the nodes have the same editions of Windows Servers 2016 and the same service pack and updates. In the cluster environment, all of them, if you create standard, all of them should be standard. If you create data centers, all of them should be data centers. Hopefully all our servers has a proper, all of them is standard, and it should be fine. And it should be secured. We need to use a secured environment. So if you have a domain environment, we are using Kerberos version 5 authentication protocol. Like we put the username and password, we logged in abc/administrator and we put username and password. That's actually authenticated via Kerberos version 5 protocol. So we have already Kerberos version 5 protocol. And when you configure these kind of servers, you should have proper authentications and authorizations capability. Then we'll be able to manage the servers. So single domain, workgroup clusters, multi-domain clusters, many different way we'll be able to configure this cluster. In our environment, we have abc.local domain. So we're going to configure single domain clusters. Now after that, quorum. What is a quorum? Quorum is a voting systems. Node majority, only nodes in the cluster have a vote when more than half of the nodes are available. Let's have a look what is quorum. Quorum means um, you need to have a more than server should be available in order to um, active the failover cluster. So that means if you have two servers, for example VM11 and VM12. Now if we want to um, make our failover cluster active, we need to have a more than 50% server should be available. But if VM11 is down, that means 50% down, right? So in this way it's not more than 50%. So we should have at least three servers. If we have a three servers, then we can say, okay, we have a VM 11, 12 and 13. In this way, if VM 11 down, we have a VM 12 and VM 13. So that means more than 50%. So more than 50% VM should be active. That's the conditions in order to configure this failover cluster. Now in our case, we don't, let's say we don't have three servers. So we have some alternative methods that is called disk, file share. They can provide a vote as well. So voting is required. So if this VM11 down, so only VM12, so it needs a vote. Vote, you can have servers or disk or file shares, then they can provide a vote. In our case, this disk 12, it will be quorum, QUORUM, quorum disk. Quorum disk means a voting disk. So in order to active the failover cluster, we need to have a more than 50% node should be available. Many cases, you don't just use a servers because servers you need a license and many other things and in maintenance as well. But if you simply configure a disk, it will provide a vote and it is less expensive solutions. Okay, so that's the quorum. Quorum means node majority means only nodes in the cluster have a vote. That means in this scenario, only servers will provide a vote when more than half of the nodes are online. Node and disk majority, the nodes in the cluster and a disk witness have a vote when more than half of the votes are online. Node and file share majority, the nodes in the cluster and a file share witness have a vote when more than half of the votes are online. So that means either node means server can provide a vote, servers or disk majority will work, servers and file sharing will work, disk only will work, right? Or dynamically it will organize one of the disk and that way it will work as well. So this is about quorum settings. And quorum settings in Windows servers, we have, yeah, this is the things we talked about: disk, file share, Azure cloud, all of them, they will provide the vote. So we're going to use all these stuffs now and then we're going to configure. Now let's have a look these pictures. In our case, everybody, we have the two virtual machines, right? We need actually two virtual machines, and for voting purposes we need another extra disk, and we need a domain controller DC, which I have one of the DC hosting in here, which is DC1, and we need a storage servers. So DC and storage servers, we're going to use the same servers. Cool. This is the configurations we'll do. And failover cluster, there is a lot of things need to be done, but let's go to our Dropbox and I'll just show you what we have. If we go to lab and point to review, there's a failover cluster configurations. Open this one. If I open, then I'll show you. So if we want to configure this one, what we need one domain controller, at least 2 virtual machines is required, 1 storage servers is required. All of them need to be part of the domain subnet. In our case, we have we have a 10.0 subnet, and that's another subnet we need to create. Okay, so there's another subnet we have, that is failover cluster node. We're going to create another secondary network as well. After that, we're going to configure iSCSI storage servers and connect the virtual machines with the storage servers and format all the disk. And once everything is done, then we're going to configure failover cluster. Okay, and after that, we're going to configure the failover cluster. So everybody we do together in this way. I think it will be easy. Some of you may got disconnected from some reason. Okay, let's have a look what we're going to do. Exactly these pictures. According to that, we're going to configure our failover cluster. Excellent. So now one thing we have done, everybody part of the same network. And another thing we're going to configure, the internal network. One configuration is all the servers, they'll communicate with domain controller, which we have already. And now we're going to configure another one, that is VM to VM. For example, this VM2, we're going to configure internal network. This is internal. And for that, we need to have a separate subnet. Now we're going to create our internal network. Let's go to our server Hyper-V managers. Everyone, right click VM. I'll right click your first VM settings. And we're going to add another extra network adapter. Add adapter. Click add and connect this one with private. Make sure this one is private. Don't make any changes with your current one, then entire configurations will be changed. Second NIC card. So no, 1 second. If you're not sure, just wait. Network adapter, add. This is the second NIC card. You connect with the private and apply. See, make sure you have like me. First one is external one. Second NIC card is connected to private network. So we have a 2 network. Click OK. After that, same second VM, which is my VM12, my case settings. We're going to add hardware network adapter. Click add. No, you go to add hardware. First click on add hardware. No, why is not connected? It should be external one, first one. Do not make any change with your current configurations. Add hardware, add, and then private. So in this way, one network NIC card is connected with external, add, and this one is connected with private. Okay, so this NIC card is connected with the external one. This NIC card is connected to the private. Everyone has the same thing. Make sure like is connected exactly like that. One NIC is external, one NIC is private. Ooh, why? Just one moment, because make a lot of issues. So I think. Mhm. Okay. So second NIC card, we don't have any IP address. Everyone got both VM settings. Now I go to my first VM 11. In my case, let's open the VM. And for the second NIC card, we're going to assign the IP address. So everybody, for the one virtual machines, we have two NIC card. First NIC card already got the IP address, right? But the second NIC card, we're going to assign the IP address. And one moment, when you logged in, click other user. Make sure you logged in this way: abc/administrator, and put the password. Logged in as a administrators. Cancel. So when you logged in, let's log into your servers. When you logged in, make sure you logged in as a. If your servers is big, you'll not be able to log in. You need to make it, size, and then you can connect in here. And after that, oh, it's big. Now you have the other user. So when you have a other user, make sure you log in abc/administrators. That's a domain login. So logged into both of the servers in this way. I'll collect other users abc/administrator and put the password. Failover
What's the difference if I log into the local?
you'll not be able to perform those failover cluster. You'll not be able to configure
Ah, okay.
because you need to have a domain. This is part of the domain. You need to have a domain privileges. So now I'll go to my first this VM. I'll go to my network interface card. Yeah, second NIC card. Do not touch the first one. Let's go to the second NIC card. Properties, IPv4, and then I'm going to second NIC card. You don't need any DNS server. Just simply put 192.168. Mine one is 16.1, and that's pretty much. We need IP address and mask. DNS is not required in this case. And click OK. Close. Stun. Now I'll go to my second servers. If you can't log in via domain, you simply logged in via local login. And this one, my second NIC card should come up soon. See this is my Ethernet 2. I'll click on this one. Properties, IPv4. This one should be 192.168 16.2. and mask. So I just put for the second NIC card, I put IP address and mask.
But you cannot ping the other VM.
With that IP, you cannot ping each other.
No. We need a gateway or
Gateway is not required because they are connected via switch, or that's a private switch. Yeah, it should work. Maybe the firewall. So I'll turn off my firewall off. I'll go to, please everyone also turn off the firewall off, off and off, and click OK. So this is Windows firewall. You just turn it off. After that, if we refresh, then we'll be able to see that um, connectivity. So I minimize this one. I go to my VM11. See the Windows firewall is on. I'll click on this top of here, top of this public on, and on the left hand side, turn Windows firewall on or off. Click on this one, and then off, off, and off, because it will make many other issues. So that's why I turn it off. You do not put 16. 16 is my network. I put, everyone has a different network. So if you go here, Adil, you have your network is 14.1, 14.1 and 14.2. This is your network. Okay, so everybody has a different one. Vavin, you got 13.1 and 2. Don got 12.1, Andy 11. Yes, everybody got a different subnet. Cool. So please, when you logged in, check like me. It should have, one should be 10.11 and there should be 16.1, like that. So once you
yeah, I
have,
can ping now.
you can ping. Excellent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you understand, like, one is external network and there is a private network. So your virtual machine has a two different connectivity. And once you logged in, you should have, yes, I can see 10.9, 15.1. Yeah, excellent. Cool. Hopefully that's private network, not much for IP communications. That is more on the virtual machines in the cluster environment. They will check whether which one is down, which one is up. They will. This is called heartbeat. So they will communicate with each other. So I think your network connectivity is okay. Now next thing after that, this part is done. If we go to our pictures, so we got all connectivity. Internal network is okay now. If firewall is off or you allow, then after that everything should be working. So if you refresh, then you can check that is should be on, off. Yes, cool. Yeah, this part is done. Now second thing, we're going to configure the disk, and we connect with our disk with the iSCSI connector. Make sure everybody logged into their services. At first, I go to my DC1. Failover cluster is quite a lot of configurations in here, but you're going to learn many things from here as well. So it's good. Now I'm configuring the iSCSI storage servers. So I click on iSCSI. You don't have to configure this one because I'm going to provide you the disk space from here. Okay, one moment. iSCSI target servers. Yes, you don't have to configure this one because you have the VM node. In here, I'm going to provide you the storage servers. I'm going to create the disk and domain controller I have, but you're going to configure your server. So at the moment, just have a look. This is your second one need to configure. Second one is this one, properties, IPv4. Yep, it's looking good. Excellent. You just need to refresh, then should be fine. Yeah, if you refresh, it should be fine. And firewall, you turn off from here. Click on this one, off, 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 off. And click OK. Yes. Is it done? So let's have a look how to create this virtual hard disk. So I'm going to create 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to create virtual machines. You just follow in here. So to create a virtual hard disk, I'll click this one. You don't have to configure this one. You just have look. Click next. I put this one is name. Specify iSCSI virtual disk name. This is I'll create disk one. Click next. This is I'm going to create. Um, okay, it will dynamic. Okay, 10 GB. Click next. New target. Target will be T1. Click next. And this one I'm going to provide access to um, Andy. Andy IP address is 192.168.11.1, right? Andy?
Yes, that's right.
11.1. Click OK. And another IP is 11.2.
Yes.
192.168.11.2. And click next, next, and create. And close. Now I create another disk. Click next. Name disk 2. Next. This is 2 GB. Next. This time I already target is set up, so I don't have to configure again and create. So I've done these two disks for Andy, so you should be able to connect via iSCSI initiators. Now I'm going to create new disk. This is for Dawn. Click next. Say disk 3. Next. 10 GB. Next. New target. Target name is T2. Next. Add IP address 192.168. This is 12.1.
Both
Yeah,
1 and 2.
1 and 2, yes. And add again IP address 192.168 12.2. Okay, this is for Dawn. 10 GB disk I'm putting now. After that I'm going to create another 2 GB. I'm just creating all the disk and sharing to all these virtual machines. Close and then create new virtual hard disk. Next, disk 4. Next, 2 GB. Next, T2. Next, create. This is done. Then we're going to create for this is for Vabin. Click next. Disk 5. Next, 10 GB. Next, new target T3. T3 means target 3 and IP address. This is the IP address you're going to use 192.168.13.1 and going to add another address 192.168.13.2. So two addresses. Click next. Next, create. If you want to connect to these machines, you need to open the iSCSI initiators and put the target server IP. Target server IP is 192.168.10.100. Oh, actually, I put the no, I put the wrong IP address, right? You'll not be able to connect with that one. One second, I'll fix this one. Because your IP address was 10.1 and 10.2, 10.3 and 10.4. I put the let me check 11, 12, 13. No, public network, it will not work. But if you provision your disk, no, it will not work. Sorry, I have to add again. Disk 1, 10 GB, new target, ND, and 192.168.10.100. What is your IP? 10.1, right?
Yes, standard one.
Yeah, this one will work. And then 10.2. So this subnet we're going to use 192.168.10.2. Click OK. Next, next, create. Ten dot one, 10.2, 10.3 and 4. Okay.
Yeah, I found now.
Found now? Okay, excellent. Yeah. So this one, click next. Now this is I'm creating disk 2, 2 GB. This is for Andy. Next, create. So I'll create for everyone, I'll create the virtual hard disk, and then later on you'll be able to log in. So I'll create new virtual hard disk. This is disk 3. Next, 10 GB. Next, this is for device SCSI target. This is for Dawn. Next, add 192.168.10.3. This subnet will work. And add again 192.168.10.4. So you got 10.3 and 4, that's fine. Was this on disk 4. Next, 2 GB. Next, this is for Dawn. Next, create. So you can see that for each person, how many disk, what is the disk, and who got this disk. We can see everything from there. I can see Andy is connected with the both disk. Now I'm going to create new disk. This one is done. Create new disk. I'll make it bigger. Smaller is better actually. Everything was good before. Next, this is disk 5, 10 GB. Next, this is for Rabin. One ninety two 168 10 dot. Your is 5, 10.5. Yeah. And another IP is IP address 192.168.10.6. So you got 5 and 6. They're connected. Yeah. Tools iSCSI initiators. And that's how we can connect. For Vabin, I need to create disk 6, 2 GB. Vabin. Next, create. Done. close. Next, disk 7, 10 GB. Next, new target. Adil, oh sorry, Adil. One 192.168, 10.7. And then 192.168, 10.8. Disk 8. Next, next, 10, 2 GB. Sorry, 2. Next. Creating a lot of disk 9 and 10. Disk 9, 9 is target name, yes. One 192.168, 9, 10.9. One 192.168, 10.10. You put the IP address, yes. You put the IP address in here, which is 192.168, 10.100. Yes, close. And I need to create disk 2, or did I create all? No, only one. Next, disk 10, 2 GB. Cool, excellent. Connected means good. So close. Now I need to create 2 more, then should be fine. Disk 11, this is for me, 10 GB. Add 10.11, create. Uh, 10.100, yes. Quick connect. Yep, if it is connected, fantastic. Cool. I need to create one more disk for me. That's a 2 GB. Next, disk 12, 2. Okay. Now after that, I'll go to my VM11, logged into that VM11. Password. I logged in abc/administrators, and I go to tools, then open iSCSI initiators. Yes. And I'm going to configure 192.168.10.100 and say quick connect. So this is connected. Fantastic. That means my this VM can access that 10.100 quick connect. Quick connect. Yeah. Yes. Good. Done. So this one is done. Let's go to my other VM12 second servers. I logged into the second servers. Enter. My both servers need to connect with those VMs. Ooh, coming up. Incorrect. Yes. Then I'll go to tools, iSCSI initiators, and IP 192.168.10.100. Quick connect. 192.168.10.100. No target available for login. Use quick connect. What's going on with this one? Why signal is not connecting? Oops, second one is not connecting. What's going on? Oh, I didn't provide access for this one. Now let me check the target. iSCSI target. So what I have to do, I have to fix the target. Uh, okay. 192.168.12.1. No, 10.12. That is my second VM. Apply. So I forgot to add the IP. Now I have added, so now it should be fine. I can see Vimal is connected, Adele not connected yet, or maybe I need to refresh or something. I'll go to my VM 12. iSCSI initiators 192.168.10.12. Quick connect.
Main control.
Sorry, yeah, 168.10.100. Quick connect, connected. Okay. Now everyone connected with the iSCSI? Any issues? Let me check with my domain controller. Oh, fantastic. Everyone looks like connected. Oh, beautiful. Okay, so everybody got disconnected. Now I'll pick up my first VM, which is VM 11. I'll go to right click on the start menu, go to disk management. So from the first, let's go everyone, disk management for the first, and you can see that those two disks is in here. So first one, we right click disk management, right click and disk management.
Right click doesn't work.
There's a disk management here. So right click on the start menu and disk management. Yes, everybody got the disk management. Cool. Now we need to make it online. Online, initialize disk. Both of them make GPT. Click OK. So you can find, if you go down a bit, then you can find your disk is there. So right click and make sure they're online, both of them. It should be like me. Online and initialize them. Cool. After that, we need to format this one. So, yep. At first, both of them need to be online and initialize both of them with GPT. Yes. Then we have like that. Once initializations is done, then you're going to format this one. Right click, new sample volume. Click next, 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 and new volume. This is a this is we got shared disk. Oops. Yes, shared disk. Next, finish. Oh, it's taking a bit time for you. Just wait for a few moments. And a second disk, this is small disk, which is 2 GB. That will be my quorum disk. QUORUM space DISK, quorum disk. The main idea is both of the virtual machines will have access to that 10 GB and 2 GB disk. Okay. Now our main aim is to configure the failover cluster. So now let's go to manage. From any of both of the servers, you need to install this one. Manage, add roles and features. Click next, next. So while your machine's disk is slow, minimize that disk and please go to server managers and install this role. There's a we're going to install two things. One is file servers. So make sure you click the file servers in here. This is under file and storage services. Then click next. And then failover cluster. This is the failover cluster features. Add features. Click next. and install. File servers and failover cluster, these two features. Click next.
On both servers.
Yeah, both servers. Next, and this is the failover cluster. Expand this one. File servers. Next, and install. So it's installing now. I'll go to my second servers. Close these things. Manage. Add rules and features.
No.
So it doesn't work that one.
Yeah, that PC may be hang, but
Okay,
you must.
yeah, looks like this is hang. So we only thing we can do minimize this one. Was it VM9?
Yeah.
Okay, so basically we can shut down that one. It's happened. Virtual machines got some issues can happen. Click next, and you right click and once everything is done, then you start again later on.
Yeah.
Next, then expand. I need file servers. Next, features. I need failover cluster features. Add features. Next, install. But your VM10 is okay. VM10. Your disk. Okay, so it's installing now. Yeah, this should be fine. Okay, so once it's done, make sure your file servers and failover cluster, these two things is done. All right, so now once it's done, let's go to failover cluster manager. So failover cluster managers, it will check all the settings. So this will formatting, right? Okay, it's like that. Let me check the disk space. Maybe it's got some other issues. Mm, no, it's got disk space is still okay. Okay, so online formatting part I think will be done. Now we go to everybody, please open up the failover cluster node. If you go to tools, failover cluster. So first, virtual machines or any virtual machines, you can configure this one. First thing, the validate configurations. Validate configurations. It need to be done. Then you click next. And in here, enter the name. I'm going to put my VM IP 192.168.10.11. That's my first VM. And I'm going to put my 192.168.10.12. This is my second VM. I just add. Add, click add. Yes, just wait. So authentications is happening. DNS also checking the name and IP addresses, so it may take a bit of time. So just wait for that. Ooh.
I think my PC is not good.
No, it's happening with many PCs as well. It's because virtually we're doing many stuff, so that's why it's taking a bit of time. Okay. Manual also I can't connect the second 192.168.10.12. Click add. Okay, so I can see some of you got two servers, which is fantastic. Sometimes it makes some problems. So if like that, I just need to, mine on also one server is not connecting. What I have to do, I just need to restart the computer, so that restart my virtual machines. That may fix many issues. Windows servers or Windows component, when you try to configure, it will not be straightforward. Just like we click and it will work, it will not happen majority of the cases. See, mine one is also having issues, especially when you configure many different kind of connectivity. At the moment, there are many things is connected together. That's why it's a bit slow. So mine one is not working, so I have to restart my computers. That's restart my VM. So if something is not working, the restart is one of the solutions that may fix many issues. I'll restart my this PC. Also VM2 I'll restart as well. Vimal, you got both of your machines over there, or?
Yeah, there is one is now working. So now I go to the next one.
Oh, no. You doing these validations with the one computers or two computers?
There's only one.
No. It need to be, both of them need to be connected, then it will work.
Yeah, okay.
So cancel this one, I think, because if you have only one, then it will not work. Don, you can go ahead. You can say next. and after that next and next, it will just test you. Now it will do the testing part. Now if I go to my VM, oh, it's restarting. Not connected. So you got your serial PC is connected.
No, node 9 is not connected.
Connecting.
So
Okay. Cancel this one, and then what's going on with the node 2?
node 9.
Node 9. Yeah, sorry. Node 9. This one don't need to, yeah, cancel. Yes. So failover cluster, as we discussed, you see many things need to be same or similar. Otherwise, it may make some problem. But we'll try and see like how we can go ahead with this one, because we got a lot of different hardware, different network connectivity is here. Because failover cluster configurations pretty much is a big configurations. It's got a lot of different things over there.
Why is it I cannot still find my storage from VM02, but VM1 is fine.
Mm, Make sure there's no firewall, and also you go to tools, iSCSI initiators, you try to connect again. But I can check from the server side and find out like whether any issues with your disk or not. So if I go here, see you got two disk, 10 GB and 2 GB, 10.1 and 10.2. I can't see any problem in here. Your target is connected. This is looking good. Yeah. Okay, let me check mine one, validate configurations. Failover cluster managers. Oh, how you got disconnected? How you got disconnected from here? So both servers should be in here. Then we'll be able to manage this one. So fail to resolve this computer name with the domain name services. So it's saying that some DNS problem shouldn't have problem with the DNS, because you have the DNS server's IP. Okay, let's have a look in my screen, everyone. Um, we have tried to do these configurations, but many issues is happening. It's normal. It's when you configure the servers, many issues may come up. It could be DNS issues, it could be NIC card issues, it could be IP connectivity issues. To fix all of these things, it will only thing it will take a bit of time. But other than that, um, we are heading towards the right directions. Now let's have a look these machines. So once these computers, we got both of the VM3 and 4 has been added, and this one validations test has been passed. It says testing has completed. It's got some warning, but I think everything is passed in here. So I'll click on finish, and nothing in here because only we checked whether our configurations is okay or not. Okay, next thing, we create the cluster and click next. In here again, I'm going to add 192.168.10.3, and after that I think VM04 it will come as well. Yes, VM3 and 4, I have two different VM in here. Click next. In here I'm going to say just follow this one because our configurations including mine one got some issues, but just at least one configurations we looked at properly. So this one, name it such as Dawn cluster. So this is the name of the cluster, and we can see we have two IP addresses. One is 192.168.12.0. That is we are not going to use that one because that is only VM to VM connectivity. But we're going to use this one 192.168.10.0, and we're going to have a IP address 10.65. So this one is for cluster IP address 10.65. This is we just manually assign these IP addresses. Click next. Next. So we are just creating the cluster. So validations part, it's actually check everything, and now we are creating the cluster with these two nodes. No, we only one network, 14 network. This is in your case, I don't know your everything is working or not. It will be unticked, and you should have a cluster IP address in here, which is like that 65, not 65 because I'm using 65. You should use 75 and name it cluster name. Ooh, it's a bit slow. So once it's done, then after that we'll be able to do these configurations. Attempting node and disk majority quorum configurations with cluster 2. Cluster disk 2. Okay, it's doing something with the disk 2. Okay, so it's done. Click finish. So I've just created the cluster, and cluster window is looks like this. This is our cluster window. I make it a bit smaller in this way. Can it be a bit bigger? No, better the other one. Okay. Okay, so this is the cluster, and if I expand, you can see that there's a roles, nodes. The two nodes should be up. Both of the servers is up. Storage, this is our disk 1, and disk 2 should be there. C is picked up disk 1 as a available storage, and disk 2 is a QRAM disk. So this is 10 GB and 2 GB. So servers automatically picked up the lowest disk as a QRAM disk automatically. We don't have to configure this one. And the highest disk space it will use as like a available storage. And network should have a two network. One is cluster only, that is our private switch connected that network, and private and public, that is the cluster network. But at the moment, this is the cluster setup. We haven't done anything with that. So far, we connect our VM, did all the iSCSI configurations, and after all these configurations, now this is our cluster portal. And top of that, we're going to provide some high availability. Now, if we click configure role, next, and this is the services we'll be able to provide high availability. For example, DFS namespace, DHCP servers, file servers, some applications. You can provide high availability for applications as well. And there are some other servers in here. We can provide high availability. In our case, you're going to select file servers and click next. So two kinds of file servers we have. One is general purposes and one is some applications data related file services. Then you click next, name it file servers, file server 1, and we're going to put file servers IP address to 66. 10.65 is our cluster IP address, 10.66 is our file servers IP addresses. Click next, and then it will choose the space. So this is the space 10 GB. We take this one, click next, next, and finish. Okay, so it's done. Now file server 1 is running, and who is the owner? VM03. If I go to my nodes, I can see VM3 and VM4. So who is hosting the servers? VM3. Now if I go and turn off VM3, then what will happen? Right click, pause, drain roles. If I do drain roles, it is draining off, and look at that roles. Spending. It's swapping over, and by the time VM04 still like available is running, so it's running by VM04 now. So that means your even one VM is down, still your file servers is available. Now there's another way we can test. If I go to command prompt, I'll ping 192.168.10.66 and I put infinity pinging. So it will do constant pinging to the file servers. value must be supplied for options n. Okay, so it's pinging now. Now if I go to node and if I resume that VM3, and if we go, there's a switch over, and by the time if I go to my, look at that, only one ping failed. So that is the downtime. That means your file servers is always available. Only one downtime. Like there's a very minimum downtime, few milliseconds or something, but your servers is running. So that is the main idea to configure this failover cluster. And now who is hosting? VM03. So at the moment VM3 is hosting. So again, if I turn off the VM pause, drain rolls means it will stop the services slowly. It will not directly turn off the services. That is called drain rolls. If I do drain rolls, it is swapping over. But if I go to my ping, we can see only one ping fail. So that's that. We can say that is the downtime, but that's very fractions of seconds. So that's not a downtime. So in this way, we can configure the failover cluster and you can provide high availability for one of the services. In our case, we provide for high availability for the file servers. And this is at the moment hosting by VM4. So if I go here, this PC, this one got that. That is different stuff, so I'm not sure what's this VM. This is VM3, so it's not hosting by that. When it is hosting by VM3, the file servers will be in here. So now if I go to nodes, right click, fail back, and let's go in here, and this, look at that. Now shared disk is available in here. That is your file servers. You can put anything you like in here. So that's pretty much the failover cluster configurations.